art studios were a place with like expression. And I was just like, I'm here and I love what you guys are doing. I love your energy, but I don't feel at home here. Like, where is my place to express, you know? This chapter of my life has really been regaining those things that I was in love with as a child. What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for the 28-year-old that's still trying to chase a viral moment, you know? Or do you want to build slowly, get people to see you growing up and transitioning from being unknown to known? When you put a mic to my mouth, I will tell you some stuff that makes sense, you know? And I don't think there's enough of that. And people are more concerned with the numbers, like we were speaking about.
Yeah.
Is that I am African. I do have a rich African background. But ultimately, if I go to Africa, no one's calling me African. They're calling me British. So
you are being who you are, not who you want to be.
yeah.
But then the question is, who do you want to be? And how's that different from who you are now?
Damn.
Martins.
Ladies and gentlemen, I always toil this wonderful world that we live in to bring you the wonderful guests that we have. And today we are going all the way via Kent to South London to bring you a king, a fashionista, a man that can sing, a man that can rap, and as far as we know, he can dance. This man can speak 3 languages. He is pushing his wonderful vocab to make himself an even wonderful artist for you people for when he blows up. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the one and the only Sarftie Santos. Woo! I like it. I like it. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. I appreciate
I try,
it.
man. As I always tell
Yeah.
people, I practice every now and then. And of course, people...
And he practices in the shower as
There
well.
you go. There you go.
Who
And of-
doesn't? Who doesn't?
Oh, you do it as well.
The greatest,
of
of course.
Of course.
You
I have
have
this
to.
idea I'm working on at some point. We're going to do it to be like an X Factor in the shower.
In the shower.
Yes.
I got you.
Just
I
imagine
got you.
shampoo
I
in
got
your
you.
eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Production crew, ladies and gentlemen. BK Creative in the house.
We're here.
And of course, MC Sabi Boy. And we still have no sponsors, people. We still have no sponsors. But Mr. Santos here might know 1 or 2 people that might be able to help us.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll keep
see.
it quiet for now.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Quick
Cheers.
Quick cheers, people. A quick cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. So, Korak obviously means footsteps, and it is destination established by that first step, by that single first step, because we want people to understand where you want to get to and how you want to get there, and so far, what's been happening as you've been trying to get there. In this world now, with you trying to establish yourself as an artist, how did it all begin? What's the first step you took?
The first step was saying it out loud that I wanted to be an artist. You know, I think sometimes we don't give ourselves the space to actually be true and honest with ourselves, you know, when we're chasing something. And I realized that I was doing something which at the time was studying at university. And I knew in me there was this fire, there was this drive that I didn't see in the real world. You know, waking up 9 to 5, going and doing the same thing over and over again, I felt like I was missing something. And when I started dipping into the arts and spending time with myself, I realized like music is it's every guy's dream, you know, every young black boy's dream. I feel like it's
Nah,
to
man,
be
I was football.
a musician,
I was-
footballer. So
football.
entertainment
knee
is
injury.
is-
That's why I couldn't.
of course,
yeah.
knee was my back.
Oh,
Knee
yes,
was my back.
okay.
but I'm familiar
Yeah.
with the journey. But yeah, I was in university one time and I started speaking to my friends who were artists. They weren't musicians, but they were like fine artists and sculptors and all of this stuff. So art studios were a place with like expression. And I was just like, I'm here and I love what you guys are doing. I love your energy, but I don't feel at home here. Like, where is my place to express, you know? And I've been writing poetry since I was like 12 years old, 13 years old, and exploring the world. I was like, I need to put a melody to this, you know? I need to make people feel something when they listen to my lyrics. And 18, from there onwards, it was just having the bravery to go to the studio, to do the freestyles, to have fun, you know? And I realized then, okay, this is the start of a journey. It's not a journey like any other journey. You're going to find some obstacles, so you better just relax.
So before that, it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of people start off with, oh, my mom used to sing, you know, I was singing all over the place and all that. My dad used to play this every Sunday. But you said you had a burning feeling. And if you take us back, when exactly, do you remember when that feeling began? Because
Yeah.
it seems like you've always had this artist kind of flow in you. You had a lot of friends that were artists. But why did you, before you knew it was music, what did you dip into? Did you try, I mean, obviously you said you were talking about poetry.
Yeah.
Did you dance? What was that? How did you finally decide that burning sensation was music?
I grew up doing everything. So coming from an Angolan background, you know, it's a place where you can express yourself from a very young age.
Oh, I
you
know
know.
about those expressions. I went for an Angolan wedding once. My good God.
That's all you need. That's
My
all you
God, I
need.
didn't want to leave.
Really.
I was hoping I'll
actually
get married myself. No, there's still hope. There's still hope. It works.
100%. It works for you to see like life and people enjoying themselves. And I come from a culture where like you can go to a party and you don't necessarily have to be wearing like your nicest clothes, because the main thing that you're there to do is to have fun. You know. So I grew up in a culture that was very expressive. Like a lot of like you have to be 6-7 years old and your parents are telling you better go in a circle and dance. You know, you better show yourself and have fun. And every time you see family,
there's definitely no shyness when it comes to
you can't.
it comes to. So I mean, my grandmother was from São Tomé.
Okay.
So she has a bit of I tell people that my family hails from Brazil. That's why I'm so wonderful at football. that's what I tell them. I'm a good dancer.
So you got some exotic
yeah,
flavors.
you know it. Well, I like the expression in terms of dance, enjoy yourself. And so before that, this was so you would say the expressive culture helped.
Yeah, 100%. I think it gives people like that extra flavor to go out into the world and be like, I am part of something bigger than myself, you know? And then that's obviously as a child, and then you grow up and then you want to go out into the world and put some of that expression out there, you know? But there hits a point where you're no longer a teenager and you kind of get blocked, you know? It's like, am I going to play it safe, or am I going to go and find that space where I say to myself, yeah, I deserve to be out here doing my thing, be myself, you know? If I come from it, why is that not a direction that I'm also going towards, you know? So kind of just setting that emotion to become something.
With the influences you had from the culture and the family, what were your parents saying at the time? What's the family dynamic? Are you an only kid? Do you have siblings?
So,
what are your parents? What was the push from the household?
So we're a family of 5, both parents in the house, married since just before I was born, or just after I was born, actually. So always been a lot of people in the house, and my dad's a lawyer, so he was always kind of like serious 9 to 5, and then he became an entrepreneur to do his own thing. So he had that balance of, and he has that balance of kind of understanding, you know, doing things for yourself and making things happen, but also sticking to discipline. And
your dad is a lawyer, Angolan, can dance. My God.
I wouldn't give him can dance. He thinks he can dance.
Nah.
I wouldn't give him.
As long as he can move and he tries,
He can move, yeah.
He can move and he tries.
You know what? There's one thing that my dad does really well is he makes people feel happy just when he's dancing. So if he's enjoying him, because he's a very
because they can see the joy and the
yeah. From a normally serious, quiet, like understated man, when the songs come on, he's a different person. So people are like, oh my God, that's that guy you don't expect.
Blame him though. He's fighting crime all day. He needs to be able to let it out at some point. So 100%. So dad was the discipline, you know, get things done. Are you so out of the 5? You're what, number 1?
I'm the middle.
You're the middle.
So I've got one older sister, one younger brother.
Oh, nice.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle. So daddy was, of course, disciplined. You know, go out there, make something of yourself, but still a fun guy.
Yeah.
And mommy was.
Mum would stay at home, just taking care of us, raising us, you know, making sure that we've got the right kind of mindset when we step out into the world and we interact with people, you know. Kind of something that I learned from my parents was that when you step out of the house, you become an ambassador for your family. Yeah. You become an ambassador for your roots and for the people that helped to raise you. So not just my mum and dad, but like my aunties, uncles. I'm fortunate enough to have
takes a village, as they say.
A lot of family, like a lot of generations of family in the UK from young. So like when people say, oh, you're Angolan, do you not go back home? I'm like, home is here, because both my grandmas are here. You know, all my grandma's sisters and stuff are here as well. So I grew up with a lot of people. So those are all the people that I represent, you know, every time I step out of the house and do what I do.
I mean, the family dynamic is wonderful. I like it. I think it's wonderful with terms of, it has this typical African feel where it takes a whole village to raise you.
100%.
And you probably still have one of them aunties that will be reminding you that if it wasn't for her, you or for him, you know the usual story that we get. So what was it like though in South London? How do you mix the wonderful culture of expression and then growing up in South London? Was there any difference?
It was actually
or it was
East
just
that I grew up in.
East London.
Yeah.
First of all, South London, you better apologize for me saying South, because East is the best. East is where it happens. East is where it happens. I'm sorry, East London. I'm apologizing. So you grew up in the East.
Yeah, I grew up in
How was that dynamic, apart from the family being wonderful and making the man you are? How was it growing up in East London at the time?
Yeah, so growing up, it was very much low income neighborhood, you know. But something from young is that my parents never made us feel less than. My parents in the house that we lived in, it was a 2-bedroom council flat for the 5 of us, and they never made us feel like we were lacking in anything. Thank God. My dad was always able to provide, and not just that, but like inside the house, it was 2 different worlds to what was happening outside. But then when you do step out as well, you have like that early 2000s sense of community in you know, parts of London where the crime is high, you know, so you kind of like see like people who are just every day trying to go about their business, trying to keep their kids out of like heavy things and like bad influences. Sorry, I switched to Portuguese there. Bad influences.
It's all right. Let express yourself. Express yourself.
You wouldn't put some subtitles.
We'll put the Google Translate there. Put the Google Translate. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Angolan is very Portuguese. Where does the Spanish come from? Where did you learn that? Or did you just pick that up? Are you one of those that can just pick up languages as you go along?
I wish. I'm trying still with French and Italian because I have a lot of co-workers. So I like to kind of try and dip in and see what I can memorize. But Spanish came from me spending time with my parents on holiday, like to places in Spain. Yeah. So we stayed in Valencia for a month one time. I was 12 years old. And my brother and sister, I remember, like, they didn't want to get too involved with the culture. But I was always like, as long as I'm here, I'm going to try and pick up something. I'm going to absorb, you know, whatever information that I can and like just try and mix with the locals a little bit. I was 12 years old. So it was just really like asking someone for a drink or in a restaurant, but that extra step. And then we started going to different parts of the world. So my granddad lived in Cuba. We spent some time there as well. Again,
Man,
like from
this guy's had good God. Look at that passport. He was 12. Where was I, man? I was struggling. I don't even know. I'm sure my parents didn't want to travel with me. Terrible. Anyway, sorry. You went to Cuba.
So I've been fortunate enough to go to different places for sure. And yeah, so my granddad lived in Cuba, so we spent some time there to visit him. And even there, like from 10 in the morning till 6 p.m, I was outside playing football with the kids, you know, like trying to just be part of the day to day. And one thing about me as well, like when I go to a different country, I want to be the least amount touristy as possible. Yeah. So mixing in with the locals, hearing stories, because ultimately it's someone else's reality that you're experiencing temporarily, you know? So just like being enriched by that and feeling wealthy, not because of the money, but because of the experience of the stories of other people. And Spanish just stuck. Like my upbringing was a mixture of Portuguese, Kizomba and Tarraxinha and you know, like Kuduro and all of these like Afro house kind of vibes from Angolan side. From the English side, my parents weren't ever really into grime or like rap or anything like that. So coming up, I never really listened to like the underground, like garage and grime that was coming up. It wasn't really that. It was more like American R&B. On the Spanish side, we had like merengue, we had like salsa, we had like all of these things that like reggaeton, for example, like that was always mixed in with the parties. So I'm now learning as an older young man, things that have been familiar to me since I was young, since I was a child.
I mean, these things, it comes to us in ways that we don't expect it, because when you were younger, you were like, what's all this? What's all this?
Yeah. You
but
don't
when
want
you
to
get
party.
older, you start to, your brain starts to filter and understand that, okay, that thing that you heard or you learned at that time. But so all this is happening, and obviously you talk about this burning sensation, but you talk about writing poetry right from when you were 12. Do you remember the first, poem you wrote?
No. It was probably a love poem, to be fair. It was probably something sweet.
I mean, we're going to get into that because listening to your music and with the way you're, even one of your songs, which, because I always pick like my favorite song.
Okay.
With the
I'm intrigued to know.
Oh yeah, Maybach Dreams.
Okay.
Maybach Dreams. That has to be. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. But there's a spin of love notes there.
Yeah.
Does this come from the culture, or are you just generally a lover boy?
No, my culture is even worse than I could ever portray in terms of like being that old school kind of like very expressive man in love with a woman, like romantic, type of approach to love. It's funny because Angolan men tend to be like some of the most scandalous when it comes to love and like faithfulness and all this kind of thing. Like,
I'm Nigerian.
we don't,
you know
what I'm saying?
We have a time.
We don't have
I don't
the
know what
best.
you're saying, but I'm just saying from what they say.
Me personally, I wash my hands of that. You know what I'm saying?
I have no idea. From what they say in the streets. Yeah,
that's what I've been hearing. What I've been hearing. You'll hear here and there that they don't have the best record. They don't have the best rap. But they like to show and they like to make their women feel good, and that's definitely something that, like, growing up listening to Angolan music, watching Angolan music videos, you kind of see these elements, and you become like, it becomes part of you, So
at this point, in terms of, you've mentioned all the music and everything you have from the different cultures gave you and from traveling with your parents. So at this point, you just knew there was a sensation, but you didn't know it was music.
Yeah.
And then, so the poetry started becoming a thing. You started writing more about love. And what's this love though? Were you expressing yourself to somebody? Was there somebody somebody out there that you fancied, or sorry, not fancied. Let's make it a bit more romantic. But there's somebody out there that you felt deep emotional feelings for, and that you felt you had to write it down. What was the poetry directed to, or who was it directed to at the time?
So they were mainly
some girl called Diana or something. Diana somewhere.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it, but it was the first crushes. It was like the first time that you feel desire for someone. You know, like, oh, it's a pretty girl that you just really wish you would just, you know, she just kiss you on the cheek, or she just passed by and you can smell her little cheap perfume that her mum probably gave to her, you know, for £10. And these are the things I was young, 13, you know.
What's wrong with the £10 perfume?
it was that's my memory. That was great. At the time it was great. At the time it was the perfect thing. But yeah, just kind of like allowing myself to feel these things, but at the time I didn't understand them. So a lot of it was growing up, and I didn't look the way I look now. And I didn't have the best luck with women and with girls.
Even you being romantic and being able to dance.
Yeah, I was referred to as a Shakespeare Romeo type of vibe, but it was the desire, you know, it was more the desire, the character than anything else. So I always knew one day I'd like to be a romantic, you know, one day I'd like to take care of someone and
I've seen. Yeah. I follow you on Instagram. I've seen. Shout out to the lovely lady that you call your own.
Shout out to the missus.
So if you if you see this Instagram page, you think it's like a soap opera. One of those. This guy looks into the sky and she puts his hand. Mi amor. A child, is so wonderful. I like it. So
he's just jealous. He's just jealous. Man.
I'm not hiding the fact. I am.
No, he's very jealous. He's a very jealous.
But it's good. It's good. It's good that you've always wanted to express yourself in that way.
You should watch the next episode that comes out. Yeah. This woman actually breaks him down.
Okay.
And like it's really, really exciting and interesting. You should check it out.
Yeah, she did well.
Break down how though?
She broke him down in terms of all his tendencies. Okay. The way he acts, why he acts the way. Yeah, she did. She really broke him down, and you could see.
No, I gave her. I think she did like she was 90% right.
I said 99, but 99.
If you break me down, this guy will just be like, "Yep, yeah."
No. I think she got it like spot on. Like, you could just see like him. He was sat there and he was like a 5-year-old Jay now, just broken down. Like all them layers had gone, and you could just see him for who he was.
Vulnerable, transparent.
It's BK has been drinking, people.
No.
He's been drinking. So with all that happening, what were, apart from you understanding that there's something you wanted to do and it had to do with art, what were you as a kid though? Apart from, of course, the romantic side, you're the second child. What did you do that wasn't music related? What was, when you were not concentrating or daydreaming about love and writing poems, what did you do? How did you express yourself? Because all this all ties up to the kind of man that you end up being. So what is it? What are the other things that used to pique your interest?
Absolutely everything. So I was the kid that was always outside the house, always. So between my siblings and I've always been the most social butterfly. Mm-hmm. So I've always been like the quietest at home relatively. But then when I'm outside, like I'm picking up events, I'm doing charity work, I'm doing like community stuff. I've always outside. And one thing that I always loved as well was nature. Mm-hmm. So I joined the cadets and I would do like adventurous training where it was like cliff hanging and like water sports, and like we'd go out to like mountains and stuff in like Wales and the Lake District. There was all sorts, like it was always just sports and like nature and like wildlife type of oriented. And then also drama as well. Like in school, I would do plays and stuff. So I done Shakespeare one time in a theatre as well. So I had a theatre performance. And just anything of interest and of like life lessons that I can get my hands on that wasn't school, because genuinely school was too easy for me. Like I say that.
So you were a good academic.
I was very good academically.
To the point where this is the first.
Yeah,
this is the first.
Really?
Oh yeah. Most people like. Some people don't apply themselves. Yeah. Some people are okay. Some people like you're terrible. But I like it. So you are the master of all trades right here, man. You can sing.
At some point, I would have been. Yeah,
you would have been. I mean, you are now.
I guess.
Well, we're hoping so.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like, you as a child, you do everything because you're so present. You know, like you're there in the moment. You don't really care who's like judging you, sort of thing. So you just get into all of these things. But then as an adult, I feel like I lost a lot of that. So this chapter of my life has really been regaining those things that I was in love with as a child to hopefully, you know, continue to be good at. So like recently I started picking up like sketching and arts and stuff like that. You know, because that was another burning thing in me. I had these images in my head that I needed to translate. And similar to a song, like you have this desire, you translate it, it becomes something beautiful. So I did the same like with a page and you realize like, damn, like, you deserve to give yourself this space to almost be childlike in the way that you approach art and creativity, you know. So
now the question is, with this burning sensation that was music, when did you finally answer to it? When did you actually? I mean, you mentioned writing and trying to put tunes on the poems, but when did you actually transition to music?
Hearing Bruno Mars. So
Which
2012, song? Bruno Mars, Grenade.
That's a bro.
Yeah, we'll drink to that. 100%.
That's when Bruno Mars had clear eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good song though.
Light skin Bruno Mars.
And I can see that because you've been a romantic. That song is deep.
Yeah.
I remember at
I didn't know how to control these feelings that they were beyond me.
the guys, I remember the video, man. He's pulling like a piano, singing, darling, now
dragging that along. Yeah,
because I'm listening. Sometimes I listen to that song with like uncles and aunties. I say, catch what? For who? Yeah, but this guy. So that song is powerful. So you heard that song and then boom.
Yeah, I started practicing that one. Then there was a Michael Bublé song as well. So like I was just like, nah, these guys can sing. Obviously, growing up with Michael Jackson as well, like you're hearing vocalists, and not just vocalists, but people that can perform like really powerful songs, and you just start practicing. I was in the shower. The shower has this reverb thing, so the sound bounces off really, really nice in the shower. That's why everyone thinks that they sound amazing in the shower, because you can.
Mine doesn't have reverb.
Maybe not. Maybe. I know mine does. Mine. I think
mine sounds. I think mine is the blend with the waterfalls.
Okay.
Because I actually think I'm under a waterfall.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
So you're practicing in there.
Yeah, and I wasn't just practicing. I was considering like, is X Factor calling me? No, I'm too young. Britain's Got Talent, maybe I might do it. Just never had the bravery. So from there, I was like, no, I could really sing. And it went to me.
So you actually gave yourself like self-validation.
I had to.
I'm good at this.
I'm good, but I was never like, I'm the best, you know? So I kind of kept myself a little bit too humble, because I missed opportunities to show people when I was younger, like 13, 14, how much I really love to sing, you know? So
you never actually like performed singing during this time when you were younger?
No.
So it was just poems?
Yeah. The first time that I performed live, I was 16, to a crowd of about 800 people.
Whoa.
And I was singing John Legend. What's the John Legend? The classic John Legend song.
Ordinary People.
Ordinary People. That's the one.
That's a good song.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, okay, this. And I remember there was a lady in the crowd, and she just started crying, like real tears. I was like, I got him. You know
I got you.
I got you, for real. Yeah. So, again, nothing for another 2 years, because it was Black History Month, and I just wanted to perform.
So nothing after you performed at 16.
Mm-mm.
Then you had the epiphany and the shower moment. Bruno Mars, Grenade, Michael Bublé. So then you
crazy names to be saying in 2024.
I always used to feel Michael Bublé used to only pop up during Christmas. I thought it was just some guy that sleeps around the year. And then, but I listened to his interview that he did on Diary of a CEO and explaining his journey, and which is why
I need to watch that.
Yeah, which is why stories. When you get to understand people's stories, one of the things we do on Korak, and obviously you telling your story here today, and you tell it when you perform at the live music show, November 28, people. Make sure you get it.
Yes.
Yeah. So the story is actually very important, because, you know, people don't care. Nobody cares about your effort till you're successful.
That's true.
Everybody wants to be with the, you know, Sarftie that has made it. Nobody cares about the struggling, which is one of the things that we try to do with Korak, is the journey is, you know, let's just push, struggle, understand where this person is coming from. And with you, people listen to your music, and you put a lot of work in your craft, you know, your videos and stuff. People think, oh yeah, he had it easy. Not knowing you probably not even performed till you after 16, which they probably deem as late in a lot of situations.
Yeah, 100%.
So when did that first song come out? Now that you know this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
It came to me, was born when I was naked in the shower. Hopefully, I'm assuming you are naked. And then,
normally
I mean, it'd be weird if the shower with clothes on.
You see the way he talks about the shower so much.
If that's his safe space.
Yeah, I think it is.
I can't judge.
I think it is.
It's one of those things. So what then happened after that? How did you finally decide this is serious? Let's make it happen?
So I'm in JD working in the stock room at 19, and from there there was this rapper who was like, he was a drill artist and amazing. He had like amazing freestyles. He could just tell you a story off the rip and you're right there chasing every single last like rhyme and everything like that. And then so we would just go toe to toe until one day he said, listen, I got a studio. Let's go down and record something. So I found this YouTube beat, and that was the first time that I tried to write a song, and I didn't need to try to write the song. Like, I was sat on the edge of my bed, head up, like on the mattress. I'm hearing the beat. The first time the beat came, I had the hook, and that became my first song. That's when I knew, okay, something weird is happening.
And what's the name of that first song?
It was called Traveling. I never released it. It's my mum's favorite song to this day, and I've never released it.
Do it for mum.
Yeah, I had to. She asked for it this summer, to be fair, and I was still
sing
I
it
was
live.
still umming and
Sing
ahhing,
it live
you
on
know.
the day. Sing it live.
Yeah, I might do.
Tell mum to come down. Sing it live.
If she comes down, I'll have to do it. I'll have to do
that.
Yeah. So we recorded it, and this is where things start to get aligned, right? And this is where I start to realize, okay, this might actually be a path with a bit more of a higher purpose, because when I record that song for the first time in the studio, the minute we step out and we're listening to it in the car, like you just listen, first song for the first time, I'm super excited, I'm pumped. Step out of the car and we're playing it out on the speakers like really, really loud. This guy walks past and he goes, hey, yo, you guys, who's this? Who's this? And I'm just like, this is me. I'm 18 years old, I'm excited. He's like, no. Okay, cool. Like, you're playing, like, who is this?
Like,
who is this?
Really, who's
yeah,
this?
because I ain't got time. I'm walking past, like, I ain't got time. And I was like, it's genuinely me. Like, we just finished it at the studio there. Like, we're in the car park. We've not left we've not left the location. We're still there. And then he goes, oh, cool. This is insane. I've got a stage at Nottingham Carnival, and I want you to perform this song. Oof. This was in May, so I recorded it in May. My first ever song. On that very same day, I get an invite to Nottingham Carnival in August. And I'm thinking, nah, it's not real. You know, the time's getting closer. You think, right, August is a long time. Nottingham Carnival as well, so it's
it's a big crowd
organization-wise, you know, it may not go to plan. They might choose someone else on the day. I'm no one. Like, I'm just a little kid. The day comes, he sends me the call sheet, the time that I'm on, like the location and everything. And I was like, this is really happening. So I step out in front of more than 1,000 people. Like,
yeah, I think I see there's that clip. I don't know, is that on your Instagram or I saw it? But I saw you performing in the
recently, yeah,
with your side bag.
Yeah. So I even went back as well. You invited me again after a few years, but so that was 2019,
just before the world went dumb.
Exactly. So then COVID happened, so it was all real world stuff that we were dealing with, and in that moment again, it was all away from music. So I just want to say, I want to point out, my journey in music has been equally about the music as it has been everything that has happened adjacent to the music. Along the journey, like, it's been so much of seeing life for what it is, but then having that fresh perspective of, okay, I get to interpret this now as a musician. And so for 4 years, I still didn't release. I was just watching the game, seeing, okay, cool, if I'm coming into this game late, essentially, I don't have time to be rubbish. Yeah. You know, if you come into it at 20, people, Stormzy, for example, you've seen him since 14, rapping, and you're on the street corner, you know, you're getting the hype and everything, and people are seeing, and it's not quite polished, but they're like, yeah, this guy's on the way. I missed all of that. I wasn't outside, you know? So being there and understanding, like, okay, cool, you're going to have to come in with a little bit more of yourself put together. You need to come in with an identity and know who you are, because the music industry will pull that away from underneath you if you're not careful.
It's a very difficult world, and I like the way I like to explain it. It's very saturated with wonderful talent. It is, you know, people like yourself that have talent, and some people are coming in late. So what you try to do is to make sure that your experience is told in your music.
Yeah, and that I don't really have time to waste with gimmicks, but being 25 now and still being relatively unknown, it's like, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for the 28-year-old that's still trying to chase a viral moment, you know, or do you want to build slowly, get people to see you growing up and transitioning from being unknown to known? I think that was what my focus was more on.
So what do you want to be known for?
I want to be known for always being someone that speaks well, that speaks of things that other people don't care to be interested in. And I feel like on social media and stuff, we're consumed with a lot of things that are fairly detrimental to the way that we see ourselves, the way that we move, you know. And so I'm just thinking, like, there's so much time that can be spent just talking about things that actually matter, you know? And those are the kind of conversations I have every day. And it's hard to see that on social media. So I kind of want to be known for someone that when you put a mic to my mouth, I will tell you some stuff that makes sense, you know? And I don't think there's enough of that. And people are more concerned with the numbers, like we were speaking about.
Yeah.
But there is a loss of authenticity, I feel like. And I feel people respond well to authenticity in the long run, not necessarily if it comes up overnight.
So being a certified lover boy, and, you know, with all that...
As much as I hate to say it.
So being a certified lover boy, and with the way you're describing the world and all that, I think the world needs a lot of love. Because things are just going in
I
a
would
very...
agree. That's why we see eye to eye.
Yeah, man. It needs a lot of love. With your experience, and how much of that love message are you going to put out there compared to a lot of other things that happen?
That's a great question.
Thank you very much.
I think it's important to not get lost in the message of love before it becomes a message of lust, for one. That's a fine line.
That's a clickable moment. That's a clickable moment.
You gotta be careful with that.
Yeah.
I like it, man. I like
that's a
it.
clickable
Copyright that
moment.
thing
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
so he doesn't steal it. Copyright it. I like it. Okay.
Yeah. So I think there's a fine line, and I'm still exploring that. I'm still exploring the way to make it sound like the life that I live is a life that people would want to live, you know, which is a life of peace without stress. I'm 25, but I can say that I've removed a lot of stress from my life, and even like seeing my path ahead, like I know that like things might happen, but you know, it's chill. And still trying to figure out like what it means to me to express, you know, want and desire and passion and having a good time and being young and like not, you know, losing yourself out to the moment, but still like making people dance, making people feel good. You know, that's like trying to find that balance.
It comes from the culture. You're talking about you know, being raised in that kind of similar situation. It's always about positivity, regardless of, you know, what's happening. And I take it that's what you want to try and put in your music,
100%.
regardless of what you're describing. It could be a
100%.
negative situation, but what do you learn from that, and how does it go out there?
Mm-hmm.
So now you sing, you rap. One of the questions that people always ask me to ask people is, which one do you prefer?
Ooh. I prefer, that's a good question. I prefer rapping, but just making it melodic. So I cannot call myself an R&B singer. I've not got the vocals for it. I've not got the pipes or the riffs or the runs or anything like that. So I like to kind of just bounce, you know, on the beat, almost try and have a conversation, you know, about something on the beat, and then make it sound saucy and then add the nuance to it, you know. So you can have the raw ingredients and then you just got to cook. So I think starting from a rap perspective allows me to kind of understand the idea, the concept of the music, and then I get to add all the sultry texture, you know, to the sound, and that's what makes people go, ooh, yeah, he's spitting.
Considering that you are pretty much very marinated when it comes to like culture, music, Spanish side, Portuguese, who would you say are like your big influences in music?
Big influences. I can't be from where I'm from without shouting out Nelson Freitas, Yuri da Cunha, C4 Pedro. Those three are like OG Palop, which is like obviously the Portuguese community, OG artists, and the way that they have carried our sound and been like, you know, testaments to that sub-African genre of kizomba and all the kind of Afro-beat stuff that they've delved into, and then mixing languages as well. Those three, I feel like for me, like have mixed a lot of English and Portuguese, and they made it cool, they made it popular, and they made it expected as well. So for a lot of us, like when we hear artists like in the UK, like switching into different languages, like French the Kid, for example, you know, switching into different languages, and like obviously like Yoruba and Twi and stuff like that, you know, it's becoming very popular. For us, it's always been a thing. It's always been a thing to expect a guy to start talking it. It might not be the best English, but, you know, coming in and out and still keeping that message, but also not being too forward, not being too crude, you know, people that are gentlemanly. So that's on the Portuguese side. On the English side, it's back like Neo, Chris Brown, you know, the old school, the young gentleman, you know, is the kind of vibe that I like, where they weren't the people that they are today, so they had to be a little bit more polite in their approach, you know, and I feel like it's important for me to be polite so that people want to listen to my music, and they want to kind of find out more about me as an artist. So
Oh, hey guys, sorry to interrupt your episode. I hope you can please subscribe, hit that notification button so we can get more and wonderful, incredible guests and you can continue to listen to the Korak Podcast. Till then, more thanks. Go back to the episode. You mentioned your mom loving the first song that you did and, you said dad was, disciplinarian, mom was at home. Does dad like your music?
Dad's a tough critic.
They always are. Somebody has to be.
But I respect his taste. He's one of the people actually that I respect his taste more than most people, because he's always put me on. He's always put me on to like great music growing up. Like even classical music. I would sit and listen to classical music in the car. That's one of the things that I really, to this day, I listen to classical music because of that. Mm-hmm. So when it comes time to like playing him a song, I have to approach it in a way like, you won't understand this, but just tell me if objectively this is good. And he can do that. So he has done that as well, but also he's been that person, like, he knows what will make him like, tick if you listen to a mix on YouTube, for example. So there's bits like that don't make sense to me, but make sense to him as soon as he hears it. It's like, nah, you need to change this, you need to change that. And then oftentimes it comes out better. Like
I've said before, so my love for music comes from my parents. They used to listen to all sorts. We're talking about very different things, from the classical to the Harry Belafontes to the Spanish, even if none of us understand what's going on, even my parents, but it sounds good. Yeah. So I kind of had, growing up, I could go into different, genres of music and all that good stuff. But then my dad, like the parents, they get to a level where they don't go past. Like, for example, imagine playing Stormzy for my dad. Now I just say, sorry, what is this? He'll probably go into that. So when your dad is criticizing your music, do you worry that he doesn't see past a particular point? No, he's one of those that he has managed to go with it? He's right there. He's right there. Like, so he was on Amapiano before it became Amapiano. Like he was on like South African house music. I saw that brunch. No. maybe he might beat you to the door. Nah, it's not him. Maybe, but he's like, if it was like today, I get to listen to reggaeton and people are like, man, why are you doing all that? You're doing too much for the Latin community. But like, that comes from home. That didn't come. I didn't get it outside. You know, Afro house has always been like big as well. So like, there's things where like DJ, like Black Coffee, for example, DJ mixes that would just go on for hours and hours. Like, my dad's putting me on. And as you listen to music, like, it may be, obviously he doesn't spend any time on TikTok and stuff like that, so that sound that would be scary. Will be far removed. That would be very scary. Imagine your dad going, just scrolling. Did you see this? Just scrolling down. Just tell you, Sarftie, I've opened my new account. Follow me, please. That would just be strange. Yeah, no, I hope I don't find him on TikTok anytime soon. But, I mean, he's always kind of kept up to date. And being African, also being tapped into Latin music, he's always like, one of his favorite Latin artists is Karol G, who's like, very, very much now. She's very much present. And that's actually one of our love languages, is like introducing each other to new music. So when he hears something that has just been released, like, he'll send it to me, I'll send it to him. There's always things that I'm like, this reminds me of my dad, I need to send it to him. So I like how you just added a new category of love language. What's that? Sharing music. Sharing music. That's a good category. That's a real one, man. That's a category. So would you, if that sharing music is a category, so your friends that send you all the memes and reels, is that also a love language? That's a love language. Yeah, it's a new love language. Yeah. My girlfriend would say no, but it's sometimes. So who sends what? Do you send it to her? No, I'm the one that sends. Okay. That's a part of my job. Social media is a part of my job, so I got. Okay, you're not jobless. Then. Yeah, that's different. That's if you're at home all day, exactly, sending rules. Exactly. That's a bit long. I like it. So, what of your brother and your sister? What did they say about your music? What is their take on your music? My brother is my dad's like. He's a clone. Copy almost. Yeah, like personality wise, very much. And my sister more similar to my mum, I would say, in a lot of ways. So who you like? You're like a mix of both. I'm a hybrid of my people. You're dropped from heaven. They're like, psst, psst. Like we're all relatively, I would say, like we were blessed with looks. I would say my brother and my sister. Blessed is what I'm saying. We can say blessed. We can be humble now. Yeah, yes, of course. Blessed indeed with looks. And very full of life. So like. Yeah, like my sister's more like my hype man, like everything that she's like, ready to. My brother, he's a little bit more that it takes, but because he just wants to see me grind. Yeah. Between me and my brother, we have this thing that's actually from Ed Sheeran. And Ed Sheeran one time was talking about the dirty tap. So like how artists, like you have
this way of songwriting that's like a tap that hasn't been turned on for years, right? So it's like very murky, very muddy, and very like dirty. And then you leave it on. After a while, it comes clean, you know. So if I hear from my brother, yeah, clean, you know, the tap was running.
That means it's flowing.
That means it's flowing. That means he's happy with that one. But he won't spend too much time in the studio. He won't really think. But it's because when it's out and like everyone gets to hear it, he's right there to tell me like, well done, because you pushed it over the edge. But until then, just keep working, and it keeps me humble.
So you wouldn't say you're an Arabian singer, but you can sing. You also rap. You like the melody. You like the flow in terms of different cultures and music. What is your genre? What would you describe your genre as?
I would say...
I need to know, because when I'm posting the promos for the live show, I need to plug it well. So you tell me.
Definitely a lot of Afro beats inspiration and Afro fusion. I feel like the minute you go into Afro fusion, it's so diverse. And it's such a spectrum.
That is,
you know.
Right. Yeah, I'm always having this conversation. I call it conversation. Some people call it argument, but I call it conversation. So, you know, so the Afro beats, because apparently there's Afro beats, there's Afro beat, there's Afro fusion, there's Afro pop, there's Afro this, Afro that. Yeah. So like Afro beats, like probably the founder, if not the founder, was Fela back in the time.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, the mix. And the one person that is putting the Afro beats now is probably like Burna Boy and stuff. So if you have a mixture of all of those, and you throw in rap, and man, you're greedy, man. Man, you're greedy.
How greedy.
That is
there's
so
some
greedy.
cake on the table. I need a piece.
This guy wants to eat everything.
Yeah.
Guy is
I
greedy.
need a slice. And you know what? I think the nuance is that I am African. I do have a rich African background, but ultimately, if I go to Africa, no one's calling me African. They're calling me British. So that ambassadorship type of thing, that cultural exchange, is what I feel like I have to represent in music, you know?
Yeah.
Because I can touch an African space, but they won't feel that authenticity, and I can't convince anyone that I'm authentically an Afrobeat artist. So when I come in there with my UK twang, and I come in there with my cadence that's a little bit more London, you know? And I feel like people respond well to that. Around the world where you go, if you say I'm from London, it's a little bit of social capital there, you know?
Who's your favorite Afrobeats artist at the moment?
Favorite Afrobeats artist at the moment? I would say Victony, Raymar, like the new project that Raymar just released.
I've heard good things.
It tickles my brain in the nicest way.
Victony is actually quite good. He's I like his songs are always good. So Rema,
Omale as well, like that kind of like sadness, that melancholy. I really respond well to that. I think melancholy is one of those approaches that I take to music a lot, like making people feel solace, but they're confused because they're enjoying the beat. You know, that kind of happiness. So. I would say those are my main, and then obviously like they pop up here and there, like you get those kind of viral ones here and there. But over time, it's really been more of like Afro house that I've been more kind of like drawn to, you know. So Mbisini, like those kind of like arrangements of Afro beats that tell a story. And yeah, growing up obviously like Wizkid, Davido, P Square, you know.
Oh, P Square, Peter and Paul.
That's a big
one. Peter and Paul. Peter and Paul.
Yeah, back in the day, because that was the early Afrobeats that you was like, oh, this is African.
Yeah.
This is you're here.
You know when you say sometimes in music people sing and rap, but their singing and rapping voice is not their talking voice. But P Square, the voice is the same everywhere. P Square, I used to look
They're
that.
Legends, man.
No, those guys are wonderful.
Credit, you know
If I went to an African wedding, I did hear P Square. I
You'd be
didn't go
upset.
to the wedding.
What African wedding did you go to?
Did you get what I'm saying?
But first things first, you know those guys were smart. They used to release wedding songs.
Yes.
You know those songs that your aunties, you take 5 steps forward, you take 2
The
steps
minute
back.
you hear it, it's like, hey.
Everybody just, oh my God. And then
away.
all the girls are singing as if you're singing
Had
to
your
them.
mom
Nah, you're
step
not.
in as well. Mumsy was doing the...
Once you can get the aunties and the moms,
You
you know you're in. You know you're in.
100%.
So we need your songs to get the aunties and the moms.
I'm still working. I'm working on the formula.
You're working on the formula.
There's a formula there, you know, waiting to be found.
Speaking about formula though, so you released a song Call Me Crazy, which is that released not too long ago actually. What was the I like the video, you know, yeah, that's true. Before we talk about you're like a fashionista, man. You're always posing, looking to the sky, you know, as if you're always asking the good Lord for a message.
I like to say camera ready.
This is dropping gems. Camera ready.
Yeah.
So the modeling thing, what's the plan here? Tommy, boss,
Do you know what?
Korak?
Listen, let them come.
Let them come.
Let them come. Tommy, do you know one thing? one person I look up to a lot is Lewis Hamilton. So he's one of my like style inspos for being like someone who's not blessed with height, I would say. As a Formula One driver, you're not. But the ability to so I work as a stylist. That's where my fashion comes from, which I like to think gives me a little bit more depth and is not as pretentious as people maybe sometimes see when you're doing a lot of fashion content. But having someone like Lewis Hamilton is having the ability to see how you can be multifaceted, you know, and go into different areas and still be yourself. And so the fashion side of things is really like the candidness, you know. It's keeping it candid, keeping it like this is someone who dresses well. I wouldn't class myself as like fashion, like in the industry, but I just like to class myself as like a normal person that you'll just never catch with a bad fit.
The question is, what is normal? One man's normal is another man's abnormal. So, I mean, if your normal is dressing like you like to dress and looking good, why not? Lewis Hamilton, I can see. Yeah.
He's at a different level, you know. So he's always
no.
innovative.
He's not at your level now. He's not. Come on, it's not like he's
One
not.
day,
Can he sing? He can't sing.
True,
He can't rap.
true.
Can you drive?
I
Yes,
think
you
he
can
made a
drive.
track recently, though. I think he made a track recently.
Him?
Yeah, I think so. He was asked in an interview. He was like, "So what are you listening to lately?" He was like, "Yeah, this is a track that like one of my tracks called da 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 da." I was like, "You ain't making music."
That's the problem with these money men.
Yeah,
They get greedy. They get greedy.
Like you taking all the genres. It's like you. So this is what I call like the Korak deep dive. We're getting into like your just
Do I need a tissue for this? Is this the
Nah,
tissue?
I don't know. You might do. But it's just pretty much I want people to understand, you know, your lyrics and understanding the song. So as I said, my favorite song is Maybach Dreams. It has a ring to it. It has one of those. It's one of those songs that makes you think. Yeah, you know. See, once you see people doing that, then you know yes, they're in there.
Yeah.
But one of the things you said. So just taking a few things from the song, and of course, if I get the lyrics wrong, please tell me.
Oh, I'd love to.
So if it's loving that you're talking about, lifestyle that needs sorting out, baby, put your trust in me. Now, if it's me you're dreaming about, flames that need putting out, baby, put your trust in me. Then they say one of the parts that gets me is hold me down, but not just for the moment. Looking at my wrist, waiting for the Rolex. Please, you need to break that down for me because
that man was preaching on that day. Hold on one time.
You like it, huh? You like it when you hear your own lyrics back to you.
Wow.
That's the man I could trust.
He said it's different. Yeah.
That's the man I could trust. So Maybach Dreams is one of my favorite pieces to date to write because of the depth and the nuance to it. A lot of times in rap, there is the glamorizing, you know, of the lifestyle, and I've been behind the scenes. A lot of rappers don't have the money people think that they do. You know? So it's kind of like rather than flex before you know me, before anyone's here, I'd rather just tell it like it is. So hold me down, but not just for the moment, is looking for something that is long lasting. You know, looking for something that's deeper than just superficial. Empty wrist, I'm waiting on the Rolex is literally that. Look, my wrists are empty, no jewelry on today, you know. And I think that's a flex in itself, that you can carry yourself in that way, you know, knowing your worth and knowing that I don't have the material things yet, but one day the material things is just an expression of wealth, not wealth itself, you know. So throughout that story of like me reaching out to this person, this special person to me, to kind of connect and be like, I'm coming as I am. You know, but I've got big dreams and I'm going somewhere. And if you see that, now is the time to invest in the stocks, because when that train leaves, it's a different story.
It says, I've got Maybach Dreams from the movies. See that line? And he repeats it a few times because he adds one of the all of them things. So Maybach Dreams from the movies, man. Educate people. Some people don't even know what a Maybach is.
It's true.
Some people have no idea what a Maybach is.
But that's how you slip it in there. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause if you know, you know. You know, it's like these little. Yeah. Like,
What keeps you grounded? Quick question to just veer off.
Yeah.
But like, I think a lot of people when they start doing music, they just want to kind of like not even blow, but show that they've got it. Like they want to be in the sprinters, they want to be coming out of the shoes, the watches, everything like that. But what keeps you grounded in the fact that you're like, I ain't got that right now, but I'll have that soon.
Hold me down, but not just for the moment.
Exactly.
Man. Looking at my wrist, waiting for the Rolex.
Because I feel like a lot of people, when they come into this industry, they don't have that mentality. So what has brought that mentality to you?
Knowing that I'm whole as a person before I do anything, I think is something that I try and instill in myself like every day. Because if you don't know that truth of yourself before you go into the game, you're always going to be trying to fill it. You're always going to be trying to fill the void and chase if it's the next number one or if it's the next single or whatever. I've never really tried to chase this dream. I've gone after it, don't get me wrong, and I'm building towards it, but in terms of actually like chasing things, chasing the status, chasing the material objects, chasing the status and the accolades, I don't want to say that I want to do that, because I've always thought like, as a music artist, you're only really a music artist for what, 10, 15 years of your life. If you're lucky, you can do more, but coming in late, I realized if I'm coming in late and I'm probably not going to do this for the rest of my life, how do I move accordingly as if I've been here before, and two, there's going to be something else. The people that inspire me the most as entertainers are people that are able to elongate that longevity of their career, like Will Smith, for example, started off as a rapper, became a sitcom actor. Big Hollywood maybe would never have taken him seriously, but then he got his shot. So then you become a big blockbuster actor, and then you see, and then you become like an author, and people are talking about you, and then you're in spaces that far extend music, and I think that's one of the things for me. I feel like those are the things I want to pursue. I want to pursue being seen as a complete person, not just a music artist. And so the conversation that I have with people, like I said, is 50-50. It's music and it's life, because I want to be someone that people can see just as a person. Yeah, you're cool. I can talk to you and I can have a real conversation with you. And then the music, you make sick music as well, So having that balance is what keeps me grounded, because I know I'm here for way more than music.
So, I mean, when you, in terms of, like I said this, I heard it from, who did I hear it from? Somebody. I remember the name. I listened to a lot of people talk. And so it says it's not about the pursuit of happiness, but it's about the happiness of the pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you pursue what you think might make you happy, you might get there, and then it's a total ballgame.
Yeah.
And then, but when you're happy about the pursuit in terms of wanting to get to where you are, it's pretty much like what you've just explained. Mm-hmm. So you are being who you are, not who you want to be.
Yeah.
But then the question is, who do you want to be? And how's that different from who you are now?
Damn. What a question. What a question. This guy be preaching, man.
You should start a podcast or something.
You never know.
You might have started a podcast. It might be
it might be good. It might be my calling. Who knows?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. So being more of who I want to be, to me, actually looks like being more of me. Because even now, I'm not the most me I can be, because there's still parts of me that I've not yet learned how to be. I hate that this is sounding very Dr. Seussy.
No, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
It's the truth. Keep it true. Keep it real.
Yeah. I think the journey is not outwards to me. It's inwards, and I feel like there is. It's not even an envy. It's because it's very light and it's very playful. But like, I look at artists who have made it with admiration. The last person that I felt like this to was observing Kehlani. We went to see her live like in 2022 December, and in my mind we then went to the after party and we saw her like up close and stuff, and in my mind I'm just like, the only thing that you've done to get to this point is be the most of you as possible and let the most amount of people see that and hear it. And yes, artists will lose themselves further down in their careers at times, like they become someone that they weren't. But to me, I've been kind of reverse engineering the final destination to go, if I get there and I don't have my family around me, if I get there and I can't recognize anyone that's there and I can't trust anyone that's there because I had to change so much of myself to keep these people around me, I failed. I don't care how many accolades I've got. There's people with platinum plaques that are sitting at home by themselves, depressed and alone, and lost. Those emotions I wanted to avoid at the end of my career. So if tomorrow I'm done and I've not got music anymore, it's going to be something else that gives me fulfillment, And that's because I'm still able to be me. I've still got talents outside of music, and I still want to explore those kind of things. So keeping yourself as intact as possible, I think, is the dream, Keeping, being the same Julian now, and in 5 years' time when you've got, millions of people watching your show, 100%, we was here from day one, I think that's the goal, because if you're a different person, then it's not the same person that wanted to go after these things. And if it wasn't, it was all in vain. I'm doing this for 17-year-old me who started this, and every day that I'm on this journey. I'm sat here in front of cameras and I'm just like, hey, yo, we
on?
would never dream
Mama,
it. Mama,
we made it.
We're on
Mama, we made
Korak
it.
Live. You know, but having that as the anchor means that anywhere you go, you've got somewhere to look back and be like, cool, are we good? You know, I've grown a bit, I've evolved, but are we good? You know,
Are you still doing it for that 17-year-old?
Yeah.
Come around.
Yeah.
Waiting patient, babes, until you put me first. Life's what you can't rehearse. You know there are things that you got to go
I'm
through.
listening to the beat, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a bit more playful than that. But
So that's when you listen to the song, that's what gets me. So waiting patient, babes, until you put me first. Life's what you can't rehearse. You know there are things that you got to go through. Break it down.
Do you know what? It's funny because that song, like when you hear it, you're not gonna catch all of these lyrics unless you're hearing it maybe for the second, third time, you know, and you got it on your playlist. You caught it straight.
Straight.
Wow. How many times you listen to it?
So Maybach Dreams. I've killed that song loads of times. I've not.
It.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay,
so one of the things when I'm doing my research. Yeah, I've killed it. But we come around. So I remember when you put it out, you know, as one of your releases, and I'm listening to it because one of the things that I'm not gonna lie, sometimes when it comes to rap and stuff, I'm not as patient as I am with like sad songs or deep songs. With rap, I just want to, the beat is good and like, just want to enjoy it.
Can I ask you a question? How does the experience differ from the ones that you are impatient to and the ones that give you patience? So like a sad song obviously has like a longer intro. Sometimes for me, my attention span is like, I ain't got time for this.
So I mean, attention span is something I think you can train. I have had to train myself in attention span over the years because I'm not a big believer that 10 seconds is enough or 20 seconds or even a minute is enough to catch people in certain situations. So I've disciplined myself to push myself there. When I'm talking about the impatience with rap is, I've always believed, and this is because growing up with my era of music, it's especially when it comes to like hip-hop rap, talking about the Snoop Dogs and the LL Cool J's and all that, it's something that has to hit you. So you hear it and it has to go like, for example, typically this is just one of the, this is a different song, but if you hear a song like California, you're like, I've never been to, whether you've been to California enough, you're like, you know, vibing or Drop It Like It's Hot or Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice back in the day. Or one of Nothing But a G thing, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. The way that song even starts. Now, moving forward with modern day rap and stuff, sometimes you're like, just get to the point, my guy. But you have to keep it there. But with like, come around, and this is towards the bridge, towards the chorus side, and then you go, and they're like, oh, the message. Because when they see you, first of all, wearing a terrible Arsenal jersey, on that, that's the only thing that kills that song.
I didn't come here for this.
Everything else was good. We had to wear that crap. But anyway, but when it comes to...
How's your team doing this season?
My team, we're doing all right.
We need to turn this into a football podcast.
Yeah, what doing all right?
I don't even want to go.
We won 3-0 at the weekend.
Yeah,
you guys won 1-0, right?
We've not lost actually.
Yeah, true.
But carrying on the question, because
but the hook and I think the thing with your music is when people hear rap, they think the usual. But your Maybach Dreams, you're telling people, take me as I am, and eventually, when the train leaves, we'll be good. You don't usually get that from rap. What you get from rap is the bling, the this, the that. And I think that is good about your music. So those hooks are the ones that stay, knowing that this is the message Sarftie wants to deliver. So that's I have to be a bit more patient because I need to know what the hook is.
Right.
So and then to me that was a hook. You're like, you know, come around. Because when you hear come around, you're thinking, you know,
you're thinking it's the same light.
It's saying a baby come around. I'll be at home at this time. You know, blah blah. But it's not.
No. So that's what I'm very intentional of. Like the hooks will capture the masses. Ideally, you know, the hooks will make the person who's a stranger to my music interested. You know, but the verses are always there for the true listeners. You know, the verses are always there for people that have seen me from the come up. So it's like when I put something like a little detail in with a little depth, it's because that balance that I'm looking for, like I'm literally spinning these plates to try and get the best. Like you're turning the hob, you're cooking, you know, that best temperature between hot and cold of, I like the beat, I can listen to this at a party and I can listen to this with my friends, I can listen to this driving late at night. But if you're paying attention, there's always depth, you know? And so that little pre-hook waiting patiently till you put me first. Life's what you can't rehearse. And all those things that I gotta go through. You're gonna be partying, you're gonna be enjoying yourself, you know. But also that's gonna come hand in hand with, you might be behind on the bills, you know. You might be having your stress, you might be having your time that now is not that season of you to shine and blossom, you know. And like you're still. Some people have had like the best nights out in some of the worst times of their life, you know. And that's always that balance that I'm looking for. Like, there's a lot of people that are sad in the club, you know.
True.
There's a lot of people that go.
No, it's true. Yo,
you know
it's true.
We be crying in the club sometimes. You know
Yeah.
we crying in the club. So, like crying in the club is actually one of those very how do I say, like, crying in the club is the idea that I look for. You know, it's like how can I make the real niggas feel something, you know, and how can I make the ladies dance? So you're always gonna find something in there for sure.
I think it's refreshing because in this day and age, especially with social media, I think depth is almost uncommon in music because everyone's looking for that quick, like, how do I get successful quick? What hook can I say? What can I say that people will be like, you know what, I rock with this because I want to feel like that, rather than how do you actually feel? But I think because some people see music as, can I make it viral on TikTok?
Yeah.
Can I
going with the trend?
Do you know what I'm saying? Can I make it trendy? And unfortunately, those trends aren't even what people actually live. And I think it's so refreshing to see that someone's trying to go against the grain and still have depth in music and create that music that really gets you thinking, really gets you crying in the club almost, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's good. It's really good to see.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. That's real, because that means that you know it. You know, you've experienced it, you feel it. And I think there is a space for it, for sure. I think there's a space for anything in music. And if you communicate the right thing in the right way, that's how Neo Soul came about in the early 2000s. You know, it was young kids who didn't really want to be like the people who were looking up to the 50 Cents and the G Unit type of kids, you know, that wanted something a little bit softer. And hold on, there's all these hopeless romantics that they dress differently and they talk about different things, you know. And so I want to bring some of that inherently black but maybe not inherently mainstream culture to the mainstream music, you know. And I think just as the time passes, you get to then look back and be like, yeah, this person's kind of always been on this, you know. And if I'm here, why not? I personally, as an individual, I don't feel like I could be in music trying to go viral, man. Like, it's gonna happen at some point, but to go in the game with that as the forefront, that's fast food music. But the best restaurants that you've been to, the best moments that you've had, is because it was timeless. The best music that you listen to is because it was timeless.
Jams,
you know?
jams,
you have
jams,
to keep that microwave
jams,
stuff.
jams,
I'm here for the
forget ready, steady, cook. Ready, I like it.
This guy came with his notebook ready.
Yeah, man, 100%. I'm gonna clip this later.
Yeah.
So, the question, I mean, you seem like you can break things down. You sure you're 25, man? Because you know we Africans behave, man. You could be 90 and look 25. You say,
I was born here lucky.
Yeah, say.
Yeah, you could be 90.
Passport
dropping out show jams. This guy has probably been there with Moses and Abraham talking about his 25. So you being humble and staying as cool as you want to go, you know what your aim is. My last question at this point is, you seem like you're a disciplined guy. You know what you want to get out of life. You know what you want to do. When you're down and when you're trying to, you know, when you see people crying in the club and all that, what's your biggest motivation?
It's, funnily enough, it's in my name. It's Sarftie. It's being soft, you know. Like, being myself. And so in my work that I do as a stylist, it's often consultations with men and building wardrobes, you know, that actually connects a lot to the psyche and how men see themselves. And so I want to be a reflection of positivity within men, you know, especially. The ladies do what they do. Ladies interact with music very, very well. And the vanity of music allows for the bridging between the sexes, you know, like women like male artists and men like female artists, you know, for the intersection. But a lot of female artists, they speak to their female audience and men speak to their male audience. But I think being a reflection of a refreshing take on masculinity, you know, so I can talk to any guy and I've been told I have a very disarming aura. You know, you don't get that tension, you get when you're talking to another guy that you don't know where you're from, sort of thing. So just continuing to find the intersections between people as strangers, and constantly being a face of like, listen, I'm here if you want to talk to. Like, I'm quite literally, I want my music to be that person that you go to when you're not quite feeling like yourself, So that's what I wanna continue to reflect, really.
I like it. BK, it's all you.
Yeah.
I think I've heard a lot of good gems. It's almost difficult because normally when I drop a question, it's like, wow, that's a question. but this guy's already...
This guy was asking you the question. Exactly. He was asking you like, yeah.
I think for me, my question would be, wow, this is going to be a terrible question. Last week I asked such an amazing question that it's pressure.
Try and repeat it.
I can't even repeat it because he's already answered it. I think my question would be, what is the, like, I can almost use the last question that I asked, but where will you get to that point where you're content with what you've done? Like, I know you've got a lot of hats that you wear, so the music, the styling, the everything that you do. But when will you get to a point where you are content with everything that you've done, or like you can just sit down and say, you know what, I don't need to do anymore? Because like, I think sometimes when we have so many hats that we can wear, it's kind of difficult to stop or like to say, do you know what, I've done it, like I've reached the goal. Like when do you feel like you'll get to that point, or when do you feel like you ever get to that point, or do you feel like it's just going to be a constant grind until we're no longer on this earth and we've gone to wherever we believe that we go to, that you'll be like, I've done what I needed to do? Like,
I think it's a bit of both. So I want to innovate, and I want to become more established, and I want to become more known, and obviously become more visible. But contentment, like being satisfied, I had to choose satisfaction at the start. I think I've come into like adulthood fairly insecure, I would say, as a young man. And I think most people, whether they're telling themselves the truth or not, they are. And you look at social media and you get that comparison, that sense of, damn, like he's got more motion than me, he's doing this and he's doing that. And for me, I had to choose contentment. So if my career ended today, I'm like, it wasn't much, we didn't get the numbers and whatnot, but I've made people feel good. I've heard stories from people all around the world sending me messages, I've my family, the way they jump up and they celebrate like my songs, like we'll have concerts in the living room, like my extended family will come in, birthdays and holidays now, like it's my music that's played, So if you look around and you can't see satisfaction, like for me, I still see myself as just a regular guy who is also a music artist. So in February, I was in front of 10,000 people at Ali Pali, random. But I've grabbed the mic on stage and sung in front of 10,000 people, and they've been singing back to me. And I've had those moments. I've been on Notting Hill Carnival. I've done BBC Radio. Like, to me, those are the little tick boxes that as a child, you're just like, why do you want to be a music artist? Oh, because you want to do this, And you grow up and you're like, cool, you've done all those things. Are you not content? Are you not satisfied? And if the answer is no, but the answer to that no is like based on vanity and based on numbers and based on accolades, like, good for you, but if you're never going to be satisfied, you're always going to have that insatiable feeling of more, You can have all the cars you want, it still won't be enough. All the girls, still won't be enough. So I'm happy to say, like, right now, I'm comfortable with what I've done, but being me, it's always going to be in my nature to want to do better, to want to one-up my last song and one-up my last experience. And this year is different to the last year. And I think if you naturally keep that mindset, things will always keep happening in a way. It may not be the same speed as everyone, but I think, whilst I'm here, I'm very happy, man. Like, music has brought me so much joy and brought joy to the lives of so many others that I'm like, I know why I do it now. It's more than just me, So as long as other people are happy, other people can keep singing and like feel good. And when they see me, it's like, hey, superstar, like, and I'm just like, hey, relax. Like,
sorry guys, I'm
that's
with
what
my
makes
girl.
me feel good.
I just want to get some food, guys.
So yeah, it's just me.
Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah. Well, how many autographs? Yeah. I like it. All good, BK?
Yeah, man. No, it answers it.
Good to know, man. Yeah. Good to know.
Well, Sarftie Santos will be performing at Korak Live Music Events 3, November 28, people, please. Link is in our bios. Please get that ticket. Come down and understand his story through his music. And bring all your friends and let them bring their friends. And let them friends bring all the other friends. We can all be friends. Buy a ticket, though. That'll be good. Sarftie Santos, thank you very much for being on Korak.
Thank you for
having me. It's amazing.
Where can the people find you? Give us all your details.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Sarftie Santos, Sarftie Santos. YouTube, TikTok, it's all Sarftie, so you can find me there. Instagram has like my link and stuff, so you can find me on other socials. But yeah, I'm
what can we expect to see next from you?
So if you followed like the sounds and everything, I like to tell people it's been very familiar, and now I'm gonna take people somewhere that's not so familiar. So again, whoever's with me on the journey, you can come and hear some more sounds. I want to really bridge the gap between the UK, Latin America, Africa, and Europe. You know, like really try and make a sound that connects and references like all of these different influences. So if there's no one that's doing it, I'm gonna be doing stuff, you know, that people I feel like would benefit from hearing. I think if we take music as more than just, you know, like given what you're given essentially, and you have people actually testing the market and finding new things, that's where you can find me, you know. So hopefully some more interesting things that tickle your brain and make you feel like, oof, yeah, this guy got something special.
Got me crying in the club, man.
Crying in the club too. A lot more of that.
Remix the Usher song from love in the club to crying in the club. Well, ladies and gentlemen, of course, from BK Creative.
I'll see you guys in the next one.
Sarftie Santos, thank you very much. The man manifested it, people. He said when he said it out loud. So hold him down.
Hold me down.
Not just for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Rolex on the wrist shall come.
Still waiting.
Still waiting. I am MC Sabi Boy, people. More things.